You hear it everywhere. They're coming for your house in Black Rock. Hide your kids, hide your wife. Get inside your house and never sell it. What an intro. I'd listen.
I would too.
You hear it everywhere. Big corporations on Wall Street are buying up all the homes and making house prices soar. Now, in this video, we're going to be exploring exactly how true that is. So be sure to watch the entire thing because we offer you both sides of the coin because the answer isn't so simple.
So let's find out. Is BlackRock stealing all our homes?
Stop wasting money on that dumb shit and instead put it in investment. I know it's tempting. You'll spend it and be broke again.
So you have people saying companies like BlackRock are going to own most of the U.S. housing market by 2030.
Ugh.
However, BlackRock released a statement saying they're not even buying single-family homes. Instead, they're investing in deals to help build homes and to rent out homes.
Yeah, so they're kind of trying.
How does that even work?
Yeah, they're trying to frame it that like, oh, we're supplying the U.S. with homes, and we're helping them with everything. But they're just making big deals for their clientele and renting out homes and kind of trying to have a chokehold on the housing market kind of thing. At least that's what people are so nervous about because they're like, all these big corporations are buying up a lot of the rental space in the real estate world, and they're going to be able to dictate what rents become. And that's a scary thought, honestly. So we're going to be exploring today, exactly how much of an effect that all these big corporations are having on home prices and rent. So now we're going to look into the facts. And the facts are all these big corporations only own a small little portion of the real estate market. Because if you look across some of the biggest players in the space, they'll own a few 100,000 homes, which sounds like a lot.
Yeah, it does.
But when you consider there are like over 80 or 90 million single family homes alone in the US, then that number sounds a lot less significant. So, they are only owning a small portion. So how big of a role can they really be playing?
Yeah, to be a little bit more specific, big corporations make up only about 3% of U.S. home purchases in 2021, and that's actually up from 1% in 2020. And large institutions only own about 5% of all single-family rentals as of 2022.
So that begs the question, why are house prices so high? Well, again, the facts are that interest and mortgage rates were at all-time lows just a few years ago, 2, 3, maybe 4%. So a lot of people that own their houses were able to lock in their rates at these low percentages, as opposed to now, rates are more than double that in some instances, of over 8. So it kind of begs the question, why would anyone want to sell their home and put themselves into a market with low supply, a lot of competition, and high rates? It just doesn't really make sense to sell a home right now. So that thought process right there is just further contributing to this low supply. And you know the law of supply and demand. When demand is up and supply is down, prices are naturally going to increase because it's a more fine commodity.
Exactly. And because interest rates are going higher and higher, making it less affordable, people are kind of saying that when interest rates come down a little bit, you'll see a huge surge in price again because interest rates are pushing people out, so it's softening demand.
It's pricing them out.
Exactly. So once demand is back able to afford it, demand is sky high again, and supply is pretty much the same. So be wary of that if you're thinking, hey, I'm just going to wait and wait and wait, and then I'm going to buy when the interest rates drop, so is everybody else.
Yeah. Especially if you're in a bigger hot market, like we're in Florida right now, I just don't see, home prices really coming down because there's such a demand here still. That's really kind of in the Sun Belt is where you're seeing a lot of investments and everything's kind of outpacing the rest of the country. So if you're in a bit of a hotter market, I just don't see waiting really turning out too great for you, unless you happen to be one of those few people that are able to get in quick, but that's going to be very hard to do.
Right. And then on top of that, now we're talking about the increase in investors buying homes and buying homes. So now you have even more demand and competition. So is this surge in home prices because of major corporations? Maybe not.
However, analysts are saying that, some of these big corporations are going to own a majority of the rental market by 2030. And other analysts are saying that, the rate at which corporations are buying all these homes have only ticked up, some say 10 to 15% a year over the last several years. So that 3% that we referenced in 2021, it's higher now. So the rate at which they're buying is going up. The just pure quantity in which they own is going up. And they're saying that, it's by 2030, they're going to have a chokehold on the market, really, which is a scary thought.
And so kind of as we mentioned earlier, BlackRock, like they stated, may not be buying homes. However, they're creating these big contracts with builders to build communities strictly for rent. So that's their way around it. They're not necessarily buying it, but they're creating these communities where they were never meant to be sold. So again, that means builders are building less of a supply to sell and more of a supply to rent.
Because, if you're a builder and you can secure a multi-million or even billion-dollar deal with a big corporation to build rental homes, frankly, it just makes more sense for them to take that deal as opposed as building all these starter homes and everything. So the number of starter homes that are being built in this country are at crazy lows. I mean, so obviously that contributes to this low supply. So, it begs the question, are corporations to blame? Well, they might be having a big factor in this whole supply and demand deal right here because, they're kind of dictating what the supply is. They've got the big contracts with the builders. They're buying up all this new stuff because, like BlackRock released a statement because they want to make sure everyone knows, like, oh, we're not outbidding that old mom and pop that are trying to buy that house. We're not doing that. We're not the bad guys. But, we do have a contract to build 7,500 homes over here, and we're going to control, that supply right there and the rent for that. So, it's like, are you to blame? Well, you're not outbidding me directly, but you are having an effect on what this market is and the supply.
Exactly. They don't necessarily have a huge section of the market that they can completely just change prices, rent prices, and sale prices, but they do have enough sway or power to convince those builders to do something different.
Yeah, or if enough of the builders are doing it and occupied with all these big corporations.
Exactly. So it does affect, in the end, the home prices, the rent prices, all of that. But this isn't seen across it. There are investors across the country, but this isn't seen the same in every state. Some states, just like Taylor said, the Sun Belt is seeing a lot more activity than many other states. So you might not see this in your market, but who knows? If they're going to own half the market or half of U.S. home sales by 2030, you will probably soon.
Yeah.
And that's just projection, what analysts are saying. Those can easily be wrong. You never know what's going to happen. It could be one state passes a law and then boom, it changes everything. Institutions can't buy U.S. single family, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's impossible to really perfectly accurately, be like, oh, this is what the forecast calls for in the real estate market. Nobody's ever perfectly accurate. It's a lot of skepticism. And I mean, hey, we just gave you some of the facts about it's simply law, supply, and demand. A lot of, just people like us aren't selling their homes. A lot of families just aren't selling it. So that contributes to the supply issue. Is that mainly to blame? Are corporations mainly to blame because they're taking up a lot of the builders' contracts kind of thing? The answer isn't so simple. So are big corporations to blame for the sky-high housing market? Maybe,
Hate for you to get to the end of the video,
maybe. Probably, in all reality. Some people are saying they own such a small portion of the market, they can't be that much to blame. Other people are like, yeah, but if you look a little bit deeper into it, because, I mean, if you look at the news, of course they're going to say, big corporations to blame. It's triggers people's emotions. It's a story that's going to sell more than saying, maybe they're not too much to blame. But we wanted to present you the facts and our honest opinions on it and kind of let you do a little bit of maybe research yourself and form your own opinion. So do they have, a sway? I'd say a little bit, but again, kind of up for interpretation.
Yeah, and we're gonna see how the future, what happens and how it all works out.
Yeah.
Again, laws could change it. The Federal Reserve dropping interest rate will change things. So many factors will change over that time period. So maybe we'll do an update video in 2030 and see how it'll work out for those analysts.
Yeah. But see if we're all in BlackRock owned homes.
yeah, exactly. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. We thought we'd put it out there because there's a lot of news swirling. And see if you guys like it. So let us know in the comments what you think. Hopefully we get a lot of feedback on BlackRock and all this, your thoughts. I feel like it's going to be very polar, one way or the other.
Polarizing topic for some people.
So as always, like this video, share with a friend, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Yep, we appreciate it, guys.
Stop wasting money on that dumb shit and instead put it in investment. I know it's tempting. You'll spend it and be broke again.